So glad you could be with us again. I am with Greg Engert, beer director for the Neighborhood Restaurant Group, a food and wine sommelier of the year. The group includes Red Apron and B-Side down in Merrifield. Then in Delray, you've got Evening Star Cafe, Planet Wine. Greg, it is always good to see you.
You too, Brennan.
What do we have on tap this week? An old friend is back.
There certainly are. Maine Beer Company from Freeport, Maine. Some of our best buddies in the business and makers of some of the best beers around, for sure. This is an annual release they do called Thank You. This is the 2018 vintage, of course, and every year it's a new recipe. This year it is a dynamite IPA recipe, which makes perfect sense because Maine Beer Company makes dynamite IPAs. So,
well, you're welcome, and thank you too.
They brew it to say thank you to all the supporters, the drinkers, the craft people, distributors, wholesalers, you name it, everybody. Really cool. It's great stuff. I mean, what's so great about Maine Beer Company is that, I mean, they've been ahead of their time for some time. You know, Dan Kleben and his brother Dave started this, I think, the brewery officially in 2009, 2010, but they, you know, Dan started home brewing, I think, in 2008. And man, he has honed his craft. His IPAs just taste phenomenal. I mean, this is, I would say this isn't like, never would I say that Maine Beer Company does West Coast style IPAs. They're not bone dry and bitter, but they're certainly not like East Coast juice bombs either. I kind of think like mid coast, like in the middle.
Yeah.
Lots of whirlpool hopping, lots of dry hopping. There's bitterness, but it's balanced. There's some malt character, and the aromas are fantastic. Using here, in this recipe, Amarillo for that orangey note, Cascade for lemon floral flavors, Simcoe for pine, resin, and grapefruit, and then Equinaut, which gives it a really great kind of mixed berry, melon, Hawaiian punch kind of aroma.
And if you see Maine Beer Company in the cooler and you haven't tried it, you should. I mean, what I love about them and many other breweries is they stamp very clearly on the label when the beer was born. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
What does this ring in at?
This one's 7% alcohol, so kind of standard IPA, and yeah, just a few weeks old, this bottle, and it's tasting phenomenal. Yeah. Just a great beer.
My wife and I have been to the tasting room up there,
awesome.
Which is very nice. It's not real big. Are they have expansion plans, or they just stay kind of where they're at?
They've been slowly growing, but you know, at their pace. They're you know, quality. A lot of people say like quality is all about
quality over
like,
buying a 150-foot yacht.
For sure, yeah. Well, that's for sure with these guys. I mean, and you know, they 1% for the planet. They're members of that group, so they're huge on charitable causes. But they also they're very slow growth to make sure that they have their beer quality remains exactly the same, and making sure that they can work with their wholesalers to ensure that the beers are going out quickly and freshly. And that's why, really, I mean, even as they've grown, when you go and you see Maine Beer Company beers, they're always fresh. And that I've always been incredibly, not surprised, but just in awe of how well they've been able to do that as they've grown. It's a really phenomenal thing, special brewery.
What would you pair it with?
This beer is, to me, because it's got good bitterness and a lot of great fruit notes and a round mouthfeel, I love this with salmon. I've been eating a lot of salmon lately, especially like with a side of like roasted fennel. Phenomenal. It's lobster, like a lobster salad, or even just like a classic lobster roll, I think would be amazing. And then anything with avocado, I think would be awesome, like fish tacos with avocado or guacamole. Classic things, pork chops, Brussels sprouts, roast chicken, all that would work.
I got to get you out to Washington State because you haven't had salmon until you have Chinook, or
I've never
also
had it out
known
there.
as King salmon,
Yeah.
Puget Sound. All right, we're going to arrange that one day.
Let's do that.
All right, I'm going to get on the web and book some tickets. Greg, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Everyone, please always do drink responsibly and be sure to bring your thirst next time for another Beer of the Week.